The movie begins with a glimpse into the life of Davey, a young paperboy and one of the film's central characters. Davey's routine paper round takes a slightly unnerving turn when he stops at the house of Mr. Mackey, a well-known local police officer. The latest newspaper headline ominously reports the disappearance of another teenage boy in the area, adding to a growing sense of unease in the community. During his visit, Mr. Mackey engages Davey to assist in moving some furniture into his basement. While helping, Davey's attention is drawn to a mysterious padlocked room. The sight of it heightens Davey's suspicions about Mr. Mackey, planting the seeds of doubt and fear in his mind. After quickly moving the cabinet into Mackey's dark room, Davey makes a hasty exit, eager to distance himself from the unsettling basement. Later that night, Davey joins in a neighborhood game of manhunt, a popular hide-and-seek variant with many local kids. The game culminates in a gathering of Davey and his close friends, Woody, Faraday, and 𝐂𝐡𝐞𝐤 in 𝐂𝐡𝐿's treehouse. In a typical teenage boys fashion, they browse through adult magazines and share their fantasies about a local girl named Nikki, who happens to be Davey's former babysitter. The camaraderie among the boys is evident as they joke and banter. Davey, intrigued by the recent disappearances, shares with his friends his theory that there is a connection between the missing kids. His friends, however, are skeptical and dismiss his ideas, preferring to focus on more typical teenage pursuits. Despite their dismissal, the bond between the boys remains strong. They continue their conversations late into the night over walkie-talkies, and Davey keeps a watchful eye on the neighborhood through his binoculars. The plot thickens at a family dinner when Davey's family discusses the separation of Nikki's parents. Davey's father, a cameraman for the local news channel, is suddenly called away for an urgent assignment. Davey overhears that the assignment is to film a report on a serial killer who has been linked to the deaths of 13 teenage boys. This revelation deepens the mystery and suspense, drawing Davey and his friends further into a web of intrigue and danger. Soon after, the intrigue deepens as Davey and his friends gather in his bedroom to discuss the chilling case of the serial killer haunting their town. Woody, feeling the weight of the situation, suggests they should avoid venturing out at night for their own safety. Amidst their conversation, the boys catch sight of Nikki through the window and are captivated by her presence. As they all hastily duck out of view, Davey is the only one caught staring by Nikki. Driven by their growing curiosity and concern, the boys head to the library to delve deeper into the details surrounding the victims. That evening, they go out to play, maintaining some sense of their normal teenage lives. On their way home, they stop by their friend Sammy's house, hoping to invite him to join their game of manhunt. However, they find the house eerily quiet and empty. Davey's instincts kick in as he begins to question Sammy's unusual absence, the stillness of the house, and the car left untouched in the driveway. While the other boys shrug off his concerns and head home, Davey lingers, feeling uneasy. Alone, Davey gazes across at his neighbor, Mr. Mackey's house, his suspicions growing. Later, with his parents working late, Davey prepares dinner for himself and notices a missing teenager's photo on a milk carton. He recalls seeing a similar-looking kid in Mackey's dining room weeks earlier, leading him to suspect that Mackey might be the killer. Despite 𝐂𝐡𝐞 reminding him that Mackey is a police officer, Davey rationalizes that being a cop could provide the perfect cover for such crimes. The boys begin a covert operation to track Mackey's movements and gather evidence. They observe him from their treehouse, noting his nightly routine of going for a run at 11 p.m. Their initial search through his trash yields no results, so they shift their focus to intercepting his mail. Meanwhile, Woody, dealing with his own personal challenges, asks to spend the night at Davey's place. Before doing so, he checks on his mother, who appears exhausted and weighed down by her hard work to support her family. An unexpected visit from Nikki disrupts the boys' investigation. She and Davey have a private conversation in his bedroom, where she confides that she will soon be leaving the area. However, their moment is cut short by the arrival of Davey's parents, prompting Nikki to make a hasty exit through the window. The sense of foreboding escalates as a lone teenage boy finds himself in a perilous situation. He senses someone is following him and, gripped by fear, he runs for his life, only to stop in an alleyway. In a critical moment of hesitation, he is suddenly and violently abducted, the sound of screeching car wheels marking his captor's escape into the night. The next morning, the plot thickens as the boys, including Davey, decide to tail Mr. Mackey, the local police officer and their prime suspect. Using Woody's mother's car for their stakeout, they closely follow Mackey as he makes a stop at a hardware store. While observing him, Davey shares with his friends the details of his encounter with Nicky the previous night. They notice Mackey loading his patrol car with digging tools and a large quantity of earth, leading them to speculate ominously about the number of bodies that could be concealed with such a quantity of soil. Their pursuit of Mackey takes a tense turn when a near collision causes them to lose track of him. As they try to regroup, their mission is interrupted by the sound of police sirens. The boys fear they've been caught by Mackey, but to their relief, it's Officer Cole who approaches them. Although he criticizes the boys, he ultimately sends them home, believing it to be the safest place for them. Later that night, Davey notices something amiss. Mackey has switched cars. As he ponders this, his attention is diverted by Nicky, who signals to him from outside. Joining her, Davey listens empathetically as she shares the troubles of her parents' separation. He confides in her his suspicions about Mackey, but Nicky dismisses the idea, cautioning Davey against such dangerous pursuits. The following night, Davey recounts his time spent with Nicky to his friends, who are initially skeptical of his claims. To validate his story, the group decides to revisit Sammy's house. Upon finding the door unlocked, they cautiously enter, only to be startled by Nicky's unexpected presence. She explains that she has been caring for the cats, as Sammy's family is on vacation. Realizing the connection, Davey's friends finally accept his account of spending time with Nicky, even congratulating him for his close rapport with her. Soon after, Davey's plan to uncover the truth about Mr. Mackey, their suspected neighbor, evolves. He proposes a bold idea. During a game of manhunt, they could covertly place a walkie-talkie outside Mackey's window to eavesdrop on him. While executing this risky plan, the boys catch a glimpse of Mackey inside his house, busy with cleaning equipment. Faraday makes a startling observation. There appears to be a bloodstain on Mackey's shirt. In a tense moment, Davey is almost caught when a window suddenly opens, and he comes face to face with Mackey. Panicking, Davey makes a quick escape. Later, the friends ponder over the possibility that Mackey might have become aware of their suspicions. The following day, Mackey confronts Davey. Keeping his cool, Davey explains they were just playing manhunt, and to his relief, Mackey seems to accept this explanation. However, Davey's attention is drawn to some freshly turned soil in Mackey's backyard, further fueling his suspicions. That night, while surveilling Mackey's house, Davey is unnerved to see Mackey watching him from his own window. Alarmed, he calls for an urgent meeting with his friends. They resolve to investigate Mackey's garden for evidence while he is away. The next day, as Mackey heads to a garage, Woody and Faraday discreetly follow him. Inside, Mackey stays briefly before leaving. Simultaneously, Davey and 𝐂𝐡𝐞𝐤 investigate Mackey's shed, where they make a gruesome discovery: a blood-stained t-shirt that Davey recognizes as belonging to one of the missing boys. Reuniting with Woody and Faraday, they share their findings. Woody and Faraday reveal that they found bags of sodium hydroxide in the garage, a chemical known for masking the smell of decomposition. Convinced they have enough evidence, Davey decides it's time to inform his parents. However, his parents are skeptical and refuse to believe his accusations against Mackey. In an attempt to smooth things over, they take the boys to Mackey's house to apologize for trespassing in his shed. Mackey surprisingly takes the situation lightly. He explains away the suspicions by claiming that the boy Davey saw at his house was his nephew, who got injured while helping him. As for the t-shirt, Mackey insists it belongs to his nephew. This turn of events casts doubt on the boys' theory and leaves them questioning their suspicions. Mackey's seemingly plausible explanations and his relaxed demeanor during the confrontation with the parents effectively throw the boys' allegations into question. The tension escalates as Mr. Mackey, the suspected officer, attempts to clear up the suspicions surrounding him. During a visit to Davey's house, Mackey offers to call his nephew to verify his explanation about the blood-stained t-shirt. Davey's father, however, deems it unnecessary, seemingly convinced by his account. Despite this, Davey remains firm in his belief of Mackey's guilt, while his friends start to lose interest, feeling overwhelmed by the situation. The next day, Mackey returns to Davey's home, intent on discussing the previous day's events. He tries to reassure Davey that the police are diligently working to catch the killer. Unconvinced, Davey challenges Mackey to prove his innocence by calling his nephew. In a moment that heightens the suspense, Mackey enters the house to use the phone. Davey, suspecting the worst, discreetly arms himself with a knife for protection. However, the call goes unanswered, and Mackey suggests trying again later, but Davey dismisses the need. After Mackey leaves, Davey quickly calls the telephone operator to check the last number dialed from their phone. To his shock, he discovers the call was made to Mackey's own home, confirming his suspicion that Mackey had been lying. Eager to share this revelation, Davey approaches his friends, but they show little interest, weary of the ongoing investigation. The plot takes a dramatic turn when a news report announces the arrest of the serial killer. Surprisingly, Officer Mackey is credited with the capture, hailed as a hero. This development leaves Davey horrified and more determined than ever to uncover the truth behind the locked door in Mackey's basement. He devises a plan to break into Mackey's house and record whatever he finds using his father's camera. Though initially reluctant, his friends eventually agree to assist him, keeping watch while he ventures into the home. The next day, the town is abuzz with excitement for a local festival. However, Davey, still grounded, remains at home. This turns out to be the perfect chance for him to enact his daring plan to investigate Mr. Mackey's house. With his friends strategically positioned for lookout, Davey and Woody make their move and break into the house. Their mission takes an unexpected turn when Nikki appears at the window, but she quickly decides to join them. Together they cautiously head to the basement. While exploring, they receive a distressing call from Faraday, who is at the festival. He informs them that Mackey's recent purchases of earth and gardening tools are linked to a landscaping project, leading him to doubt their suspicions about Mackey. Disheartened, Faraday and 𝐂𝐡𝐞𝐤 decide to abandon their posts, leaving Davey, Woody, and Nikki to continue alone. Upon breaking into the locked room in the basement, they are horrified to find it decorated with family photographs. However, the true shock comes when they discover a decaying corpse in a bathtub and another victim, still alive, bound and pleading for help. As they hastily retreat from the harrowing scene, Davey makes a chilling realization. The family photographs adorning the walls are actually pictures of Mackey's victims, and among them is a photo of Davey and his family, indicating that Davey is Mackey's next intended target. After alerting the police, Davey, Woody, and Nikki find themselves at the police station. A police unit is dispatched to apprehend Mackey, and the sheriff commends Davey for his bravery in saving the boy's life. Outside the station, Nikki shares a moment with Davey, telling him about seeing her parents embrace for the first time in a long while, a moment of unity she attributes to Davey's actions. In a sweet gesture, she gives Davey a kiss. Later, as Davey is driven home, his family expresses their pride in him. That night, with Woody staying over while his mother works, an unsettling development occurs. Mackey, still at large, stealthily enters the house through the attic. He quietly subdues Davey and abducts him from his bed. Davey later regains consciousness in the back of a police car, with Woody also captive. In a desperate bid for survival, they manage to escape into the woods. In the intense final scenes of the story, Davey and Woody find themselves in a harrowing situation, orchestrated by Mackey. Using a loudspeaker, Mackey chillingly informs them that they are now participants in a deadly, real-life game of manhunt. The boys, desperate to escape, find themselves lost in unfamiliar terrain, their fear escalating as they realize the officer is relentlessly pursuing them. In a horrifying discovery, they stumble upon the remains of Mackey's previous victims, a grim testament to his gruesome acts. Faced with this nightmarish reality, Davey devises a plan to distract Mackey, allowing Woody to attempt to steal Mackey's car for their escape. However, their plan goes tragically awry when Mackey catches up to them, injuring Davey's ankle with a knife. Davey's cries of pain are in vain as he tries to warn Woody of the impending danger. In a devastating turn of events, Woody is killed by Mackey, his life ending in the woods with no one but the malevolent cop as a witness. Davey, in agony and shock, reaches the car only to discover the lifeless body of his friend. Confronted by Mackey, he is told in no uncertain terms that the horrors that have unfolded are his fault, a result of his relentless pursuit of the truth about Mackey. Mackey, in a twisted declaration, decides to leave Davey alive, condemned to a life of perpetual fear and paranoia, always anticipating Mackey's return. Mackey then departs, leaving Davey alone and injured on the road. A passing stranger eventually finds him and drives him to safety. As they leave, the officer's burning police car is seen at the roadside, a symbol of the fiery end to his reign of terror. Time passes, and Davey resumes his paper round, a semblance of normalcy in the aftermath of the traumatic events. He sees Nikki leaving with her parents, a bittersweet moment as she departs from his life. The bonds that once united Davey with his friends 𝐂𝐡𝐞𝐤 and Faraday have been irreparably altered. The treehouse, once a symbol of their friendship and shared adventures, is dismantled, reflecting the end of their childhood innocence. The boys, once inseparable, now pass by each other without acknowledgement, each lost in their own worlds. Davey is left with a profound and unsettling lesson about the nature of people. He realizes that individuals often hide their true selves, masking their intentions and identities. This realization marks a loss of innocence for Davey as he comes to terms with the complex and often dark realities of the world around him. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.